Hello and welcome back to Where's the Art? In tonight's edition we're going to be looking at the work of Cézanne, the second of the modern art fathers. Hello Gino.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Cézanne, what can you tell me about Cézanne and his work?
I think Cézanne is a man of the earth. He was born in Provence and he knows what the earth can give and take. And I think what comes out in his work is a respect for nature and a close contact with that nature, and at the same time there's this element of, as a creator and as a painter, as he wants to transform and he wants to see the world in a new way, even though he's very respectful of that world. And for example, if in this first still life that we have, it's with Cézanne, it's almost a mathematical process that is going on in the relationship between the forms and the colors and the fact that everything is important in that painting.
Can I stop you there, Gino? So we are not talking about an emotional response to nature. We're talking about the more intellectual.
See, I think if it's agreed, sort of with in relation to about that with Monet, I think now a more, let's call it scientific, for want of a better word, a more scientific approach is involved. At the same time, his good friend was Émile Zola, the novelist. They grew up together, and Zola was trying to do the same thing with society, analyze society and analyze reality. This is what now the big challenge of Cézanne, and for the ones that are following, is to challenge that reality and analyze, as I said, from a scientific point of view and obviously from a pictorial point of view, what is this about?
Yes, I must concur with you, because he did say to look at nature in terms of cone, a cylinder, sphere.
Forms.
So forms. He was reducing nature to geometric forms, which seems to be a very mathematical approach to seeing and looking, and it's evidenced by his work. When you look, we're looking at the still life with apples here, the meticulous approach, or as you said before, the scientific approach that he has to seeing. Apparently, before he put a stroke down on the canvas, he would analyze about 100 times, and then put one stroke down, and then look again, and put another stroke down. It seems to me a very medical way of looking at things.
But completely in agreement, but that doesn't mean it is a cold vision, not at all. It is a very passionate, even though we are in the realms of mathematics, and let's call them visual mathematics, it is a very strong energy that is moving there. It's not cold at all. There's a rawness about Cézanne, which I find, very, very seductive. Yeah, it's.
But it doesn't come across in the painting. You look at these, and it does appear to me to be more when you talk about, the mathematical approach and taking time and putting color down. It doesn't come. To me, that looks more like an impressionistic painting because it has perhaps it's to do with the pureness of the colors used. Whereas Monet it appeared to me to be more free with his
spontaneous.
Yes, it's almost as if when you're saying about you're talking about analyzing and measuring, and it's almost as if that spontaneity is gone.
I think he's looking,
But it's
he's
gone.
looking in,
I
in
don't think it's
another way.
gone. I think it's discarded.
Or disguised. Is it gone or discarded?
For me,
or?
he's set it aside because he did not agree with the Impressionists, even though he was an anti-academic. He did not agree with the Impressionists because he said the Impressionists were all about the eye, how the light would hit the eye, and that's what he would paint. And he would say, no, 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 you've got to apply your mind to nature, not just your sensory perception, but your mind. And I think that is what he's analyzing.
But he's doing, like, for example, I'm looking at this still life, there's all sorts of different things happening in the painting. Like, for example, if we look at the table and we move to the right side of the painting, and I see some sort of napkin there, but if you isolate that like that, that's almost a Picasso.
Yes.
Bueno, eventually we will get to Picasso.
Eventually we'll
because
get,
because he's the father of Picasso.
It's already in that, you see, in that detail there. And for example, if we look at the background,
yes,
there are certain things that remind me of Goya.
Yes.
Okay.
There as well. So the Cézanne, there's all sorts of different things happening here if we start looking at what Cézanne is doing. Now there's, for me, a look back towards Goya and maybe even Turner in the background, but in the foreground of the painting to the right, he's looking towards Picasso.
Yeah,
so it's like
he's already announcing.
And this table is
already
like a kind
announcing.
of frontier area.
Yeah. There's lots of elements. There's also a flatness to the background, isn't there? That might be a wall or whatever your mind interprets that to be, but it's trying to do something else.
But it's not an ordinary background, because there's lots of things happening there. From a visual point of view, there's a very nice blob of orange, which is up there, which of course
it's going to complement
the picking up of the oranges.
An interesting point here is this bowl of apples on this white bowl. It seems it's going to topple over the table. It seems that it's not being held by the table at all. Now, I think this is done on purpose, obviously. I think this is a device to flatten the picture plane.
Yes.
I think he's interested in perspective insofar as perspective will hold up the foreground. He doesn't want to give us the illusion of a room with a table and the apples.
No, because this is the excuse. The apples on the table and the jug are the excuse for him to explore
his blackboard and his
own,
chalk.
His own painting.
Yes, his equations.
This is not about apples or tables or jugs or anything like that. This is about painting.
Yes.
And that is the crucial thing about Cézanne, and which was
so when you mention it's about painting, we must never forget painting has existed since immemorial, and the academics have had a recipe for painting for 500 years. But here we have Cézanne saying, let's start again.
Yes, of course.
Let's begin from the beginning.
Of course.
Let's understand what painting is all about.
Yeah. For example, if we look at the main subject matter, let's put it that way, this in another coloring and slightly altered could be Giotto.
Giotto. Bueno, Giotto.
The flatness of Giotto.
Yes, but I think the difference between Giotto and Cézanne is that Cézanne was doing it on purpose, and Giotto did not know any better.
Yes, but I think what the genius of Cézanne is to go back, and it's we all go back
eventually
to look at the master and say, well, no, how can I apply, if from 12th, 13th century,
the purity of line,
to now, once we've gone through the Renaissance, the Baroque, the Mannerism, blah, 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 all the way down, what happens? And what happens when you make this fusion of propositions? As I said, you know, the background takes you somewhere else, that corner there takes me forward to Picasso, and, you know, this is the world of Cézanne, and even some of that blue cloth here to the left could be Titian, you know, part of the cloak of a virgin. Yeah.
Let's leave the apples and let's move on to Mont Saint-Victoire. This is he painted this over 200 times. He sat in the same spot or nearby spots and painted this 200 times. Leslie, why did he not get fed up with?
I think I would have. What was he trying to achieve?
What was he trying to achieve?
I just wonder what he was trying to achieve. What was he looking at? What was he trying to find in the view? Is he trying to split it down into boxes and squares and shapes?
Yes, that for certain he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the predominance of the green there. I know, you know, it's a scenery and all that, but I think there's still perspective there, isn't there? He's still trying to give you that sense of distance.
Yeah.
You know, the mountain in the background, in the background, and the fields in front of you. In many ways, it's still a very classical painting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And
but compared to an academic painting, it's another world.
It's a completely different
another
world.
universe.
Yes. Yes. I see an experimentation there, but still also trying to anchor himself. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. With perspective lines as well, so I can see some.
Yeah,
some diagonal lines
he doesn't want to live. He doesn't want to live the Earth. He wants to stay in planet Earth. He doesn't want to move to another sphere, but he wants to understand it in a different way, not in the narrative way that the academics approached it, in a very romanticized, sweetened way. He wants, like Gino mentioned, he's a man of the Earth. Yeah. He wants to understand what a shape is, what a triangle is, what a square is, and he's paring them down to its basic form without moving to total abstraction. He wasn't ready for total abstraction because that takes you to another universe.
And he wants to find the answers. That's maybe why he went back to it so many times. Well, like Monet went to his garden,
absolutely,
or to the facade of the cathedral in Rouen, which he painted something like 30 times. Right. But he wants to, I don't know, it's a bit totemic, you know, like looking like an image of something, or a photograph.
I have to stop you, Gino. We need to go to a break. We'll be back in a minute. Thanks very much for watching. Welcome back. Gino, you mentioned the word totemic. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Well, the totem figure is, let's, for want of a better word, let's call it a sculpture or something that brings you closer to certain powers. Be they
religious objects would have that sense.
But in a very primitive sense. You know? And here, and I mentioned this in relation to the Mont Saint-Victoire, it is an old mountain. I mean, this is millions and millions and millions of years old. If before we were looking at apples rot eventually. They may be very nice and all that. So maybe he's chosen this subject of mountain with all that entails.
The permanence,
permanence, which will also erode as well, but as a kind of communion with nature, and nature with himself. That Rorty, the philosopher, he's got a book called Nature as the Mirror of Reality. So you've got this subject in front of you, which has, for whatever reason, has called out to you, and you want to
and you become obsessed
you want to
with the nature of the object and try to.
But that object should make you understand yourself. That is what is interesting.
So is that why he keeps on coming back to it?
Yeah.
Because he's in a dialogue with his object, and it's telling him things about himself rather than about the object himself.
Because he's not doing the dialogue with a work of art.
Well,
the dialogue is with nature.
Nature. That brings me to what Leslie was saying about Monet and the water lilies, that he's trying to get the texture with the paint, and that a personal relationship with the motif, which is again totally different to the academic mind of using nature as a narrative for a story. And that, again, we can see the great division between the change of mind that is coming over the Western mind. Can we move on to the bathers? Because here in the bathers, I think he's taking his analysis and his experimentations to quite a degree. Leslie, talk to me about the bathers, because here I think perspective has been destroyed altogether, and he needs to put blue behind there because he cannot bring himself away from the narrative or from the story he's trying to tell. He's still not moved into abstraction like the later painters will do.
But there is a stylization or a breakdown of, or a breaking down of the physical forms, much as pretty much what he was doing with the
He starts,
other one.
he starts with the mountain. Yes, that's right.
And then here he starts to do that with physical with human beings, and I can see some very simplified forms in the human sense, in the human shapes. Circles, again, it goes back to perhaps what he was, the cylinder, the cone and the sphere.
And the sphere, yeah.
So you see a few shapes there that allude to breasts, and then heads are very. So there's an abstraction there in a kind of
a beginning of abstraction.
A beginning of. Although still, I think, as you said before, I think it's still rooted in that narrative, because you're always talking about something. Because the presence of the people there,
See, for me, it's telling the closeness of the clouds to the figures. It can't be. They're too close together. It looks more like a stage set in a theatre.
I was just going to say.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what connotations can be brought from the theatre into here, unless he's seeing the world in theatrical terms, like he puts and he takes away as he likes,
At the whim, yes.
to create the message he wants to tell us about. He's not reflecting nature; he's absorbing nature and then bringing it out in his own terms. I think that would be a correct analysis of Cézanne.
But if I can put the spanner in the works.
by all means, Gino, go ahead.
I don't like this painting.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. I don't think it's good Cézanne.
It's not resolved,
it's good
no?
Cézanne. Well, you mentioned before the theatricality of it, and we remember the Déjeuner sous l'herbe. And it follows from that tradition as well. But when I think, for example, at this kind of situation, and it looks a bit like a theatre, they're all like, and it looks like a kind of set design at the back and all that. And for example, Degas and the paintings of the ballerinas and the theatre, all that, I find much more interesting than this. I don't think. And Les Demoiselles
Gino, I respect what you're saying, Gino, but the agenda is not the same. Cézanne's agenda is totally different from Degas' agenda.
I just wanted to say I didn't like it.
You didn't like it? Well, okay. Well, the obvious question then...
because I can be very passionate about some things, but other things...
The obvious question is, why don't you like it?
I find it a bit... it does not move me. I find it flat. I don't...
I think Cézanne would be pleased with that.
See, probably, yeah. But it does not move me in the same way that some of his other work does. And I've seen it often in the National. Actually, I have the same problem with Van Gogh's chair, but that's another story. Wait till we get to that.
We'll then that's the next program. We're going to look at Van Gogh.
I find it a bit not very interesting. I don't think it's. It sounds like that, but I don't think it's finished. I think maybe.
Finished or resolved?
I think Picasso resolved this painting.
Picasso.
In Les Demoiselles d'Avignon.
Ah, bueno, sí, because, yes,
But
I agree, I understand what you mean now. But Cézanne is in between, isn't he?
Yeah.
Cézanne is the link between the beginnings of modern art and the final manifestation of Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. He finds himself in the place where he's in no man's land. He is a painter's painter. You know, this is like a canon for the painters, for the modern painters to read. Do you like it, Leslie?
Be honest.
I'm quite indifferent about it. There's things about it I don't like. Things about it I do like. But as a piece.
Yes, that's it. I think we need to divide
as a piece.
The proposition is giving us and the result he's come up with.
That's it.
And to the eyes, it's disconcerting. But to the mind, you're beginning to see, obviously, when you see this without Picasso, you don't understand it.
No.
But we are looking at hindsight, so we have the advantage. But the people who saw this in its day must have been says, this is
disappointed.
Nothing. This is disappointing. This is an amateur's work.
Yes.
He doesn't know how to do a body. He doesn't know about perspective.
He doesn't know how to do a face.
He doesn't know how to do a face. He doesn't
None
know
of
how to
those
mix
faces
colors.
are right.
It's a total rubbish. But the proposition is given us about viewing life as objects in space.
Yes.
I think in those terms it's very successful.
Yes, and I think that's where it. If you ask me again whether I like the painting, I would have to say that it's between a yes and a no, and probably both. But I would have to say yes, because as you say, it's, and I've used this word before, it alludes to something else.
Yeah.
It's like a stepping stone. You know that it's going to go somewhere else, and you can see other artists in it, and you can see Picasso in there.
It's a frontier.
That's right.
And I think, I suppose we all dry up at some moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is quite a late work.
It is a very late work.
So he was like, can I take it further? And
am I going to be allowed to?
as far as he could take it.
See,
while let's not forget, when we get to Picasso, that Les Demoiselles d'Avignon is not finished.
That's right.
Now, when we get to it...
I mean, we will look at it in a couple of weeks' time, and could it not be finished, or did he not want to finish it?
Possibly.
Or maybe he could not finish it because it was bigger than him. And so, but we'll look at that at another time. So Cézanne becomes the father of Cubism. Picasso himself says that he's the father of us all. And I take it to mean that he opened the eyes to the possibility of what a painting could become. And for me, Cézanne is beginning to show us that he's turned his back on perspective, that he's turning his back on painting as a window into the world. He's saying a canvas is a flat surface with pigments on it. And I'm going to tell you that in as many different ways as I can. Would that be a correct assumption?
And he's not afraid to tell you that, and he's not afraid to say it's not more than that. Quite
it's
literally,
not more than that.
It is not more than that.
Exactly.
Because
Gino,
the
you
story
can have
of
the last
art,
word.
the story of art, or at least of painting, is in the painting. In the painting.
In the painting.
That's where it is. Forget. And I know we've got subject matters and all that.
Symbolism.
Blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, it's in the paint.
And we have to leave it there, gentlemen. Good night and thanks for watching. See you next week.